Hey everybody, welcome back to Nicsminibikes. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything, it's free, and it really helps me out. So if you watched last week's video, you know we put some new handlebars on a Coleman B200RSV. Now we're stepping up the motor. We're going to take that 196 out of there, and we're going to put a 224 non-Hemi in that bike. Both engines are governed at 3,600 RPM, something like that. So I'm not really expecting to see much more speed out of it. You might just feel it on takeoff, you might feel it, but I don't think you're really going to see much out of it. But either way, we got this. We got that RSV, and we're going to put this 224 in there today. Come along for the ride, and let's get started. Alright, so we got our Coleman B200 RSV here. It's bone stock, nothing's done to it. The governor's still intact, it's not bypassed, nothing. The only thing we've done in last week's video is we put these new handlebars on and the new grips. But other than that, it's bone stock. He probably only has 2, maybe 3 hours ride time on it. Maybe 4, I doubt it, but maybe. He just got it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take it and we're going to get a top speed run. Almost 40 miles per hour on this bike, bone stock. I think that's pretty impressive. They advertise it at 32, I think, is the top speed. I'll double check that and correct myself if I'm wrong. But I'm pretty sure it's 32 miles per hour is what they advertise it at. And it hit 39. That's impressive, I think. I don't think mine was that fast when it was bone stock still. But either way, this 196 is going away, and that 224 is going in its place. So let's get to it, start pulling this motor off of here. So to get this motor out, the first thing we're going to do is get the clutch cover off and the clutch and the belt off. Next thing we're going to do is get this airbox off and unhook the throttle cable. Got that throttle cable undone. We'll just put this air box back on. Now we'll come to the front side of the engine and get our wires unhooked. Be our kill switch and our headlight wires. They'll be under this boot here. That's disconnected. So everything is disconnected from the motor already. Now we just got our 4 bolts holding the motor to the frame. Now that motor should be loose and ready to slide out. Now for the fun part. We get to unbox a new motor. Ta-da! It is a non-Hemi 224, so that's good. You've seen the 224 before, nothing special here. Let's get this put on the bike. I'm going to stand on my head again, and I'm going to get the motor mount bolts put back in. We got that motor bolted in there. They're just in, they're not tight. We're gonna get this throttle cable hooked up. We're gonna back this screw out here. We're gonna take this throttle stop screw out. This one. We're gonna slowly loosen this 10 mil lock nut on the top here until that throttle returns itself. And then just a little bit more. Good. Then we got the cable tied down here. We'll back that off. We'll slide our cable sheathing in there and clamp that down. Get the throttle cable through like that. All the way at idle. Throttle's all the way back or forward. We'll just pull that snug this screw down. And that there's going to be our throttle cable all set up. Looking all over for the air box. It's over there. That air box back on. Throttle set up. Now I'll move to the other side and start putting the clutch on. So we need one thing off of here, and that's this bracket here. This holds the torque converter cover, and we want that. So just take this little bracket here, and we'll put this bolt back in. And this is the other one. The 224 head doesn't have a hole for this bolt, so we're going to have to make something ourselves. So we got to put this little bracket in the same spot on this engine, right here. And I'll tighten that up by hand. Alright, we got this motor tightened down and it's straight. Motor twist in the frame is just as important as your clutch line up, because you'll never get the clutch lined up if your motor's twisted. So we'll start with the original spacer there. And the back of our driver. We'll use a straight edge to check that. And that driver needs to come out quite a bit. I'm going to do 2 machine washers on there. Check it again. Still needs to come out a little bit. So I'm going to throw a 3rd on there. And that there is almost perfect. So we'll roll with that. Then we're going to take our belt, flat side to the engine, off the driver, and then onto the driven. Then we'll put our slide on, the inside of the outside of the driven. And then the outside of our driven. Then you got your torque converter washer there. Torque converters take a 5/16 24 bolt into the crank, so your stock bolt won't work. Now I'm going to give this just a little bit of blue Loctite right on the end of the bolt here. Now we'll work on getting this clutch cover put back on. Gonna have to make a bracket, probably that comes off of this valve cover bolt to mount the backside here. Not a big deal. Well, let's get the other 2 bolts in first, and then we'll figure that one out. Okay, so I have this little piece of flat stock here, and that's what I'm going to make my little bracket out of. I'm going to start by just getting 1 hole in it here. We're just going to kind of eyeball center on it. That's perfect size, already in the press, so that's good. Just got it in the vise. Next thing we're gonna do, just bend it over. Just like that. Now we'll go test fit it on the bike real quick. I'll be right back. So that's gonna work out good for us, I think. So get another hole put in it. Kind of eyeballed where this hole needs to be, so I'm not super picky about it. So we got that hole drilled out. All of this can go away. We can round some corners, make it look just a little nicer. So here's what we came up with. I had to put a little jog in it, and it'll work. So we're gonna cut this off here. We'll round these off, and we'll round this off, and we'll be ready to put that on there. So there we go. We got that bracket all done. Let's finish covering up that clutch and get some gas and some oil in that thing, and give it its first start. So there we go. That bracket's on there. It looks pretty good. Let's get some oil in this thing, get some gas in it, see if this will fire up. So one thing I should have done before I even put the motor in here was disconnect this oil level sensor. So we're just going to open up this little black case here, and it shows all of our wires there. We got the wire coming out of the engine here. We just need to disconnect that to this one, just like that. And I'll put these back in this little case, and we'll be ready to put oil in. So we'll fill the oil from the front right here. And I got half a quart of Lucas motorcycle oil, 10W30. We're gonna put that right in there. Alright, so it's always a good idea when you start something for the first time, put it up against something. We don't want this taken off. Handlebar kill switch is not hooked up yet. We just got the kill switch on the motor. Turn that on. Turn the fuel on. Give that a second to fill the bowl. Turn the choke on. We're just gonna let that warm up. We'll shut it off. We'll do that a couple times. Kind of heat cycle the engine a little bit. So I'll be back when I'm done doing that. So while this is cooling down, let's go ahead and take care of hooking up this kill switch. We're pretty well just gonna delete the one on the motor here, and we'll just use the one up on the handlebars. I want to keep as much of this wire as I can, so we'll cut it way up here. So this wire that goes up under the gas tank goes to the coil, and I just cut the pigtail off the original engine. Just makes it a little easier. And we'll go black to black, and we'll do blue to ground. I use these. They got a little bit of solder in the middle. I like those, they're really nice. So I got one done. I ended up taking it off the motor. It was just easier that way. I'm not going to do heat shrink on these because these are waterproof. The little red lines there seal it off. No heat, it's kind of like built-in heat shrink. No need to do more. So we get these last two wires twisted together, heat that connector up, and be done here. Just to make it look a little cleaner, I'm going to trim these wires off altogether. Don't need the one coming out of the block. We don't need the little box that was there anymore, and we don't need any of these wires. We'll hook our ground back up to this little bracket here, and then we'll just plug right back into the factory harness. And that motor's completely cooled off, so we'll start it up and give it another heat cycle. All right, so I gave this 2 heat cycles, got it up to running temperature, let it cool all the way off twice. That's more than I usually do. Let's get set up with some gear, and we'll go do a top speed run and see if the top speed changed at all with the 224 swap. So that's going to do it for this episode of Nicsminibikes. We got the Coleman B200RSV swapped with the Predator 224 non-Hemi. And just as I suspected, we didn't get much more top speed out of it. We got, I think, 3 miles per hour, which 43 on a stock engine, stock everything, governor intact. I think it's pretty respectable. It's a good cruising speed, I think. If you haven't yet, hit that link down in the description. Grab you some merch. We got hats, shirts, hoodies, all kinds of cool stuff there. So go pick something up. That helps the channel out a lot, and I appreciate it. And as always, make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. I appreciate you watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.